On the border, the choice is simple. Kamala Harris supports increasing the number of Border Patrol agents. Donald Trump blocked a bill to increase the number of Border Patrol agents. Kamala Harris supports investing in new technology to block fentanyl from entering the country. Donald Trump blocked funding for technology to block fentanyl from entering the country. Kamala Harris supports spending more money to stop human traffickers. Donald Trump blocked money to stop human traffickers. Kamala Harris prosecuted transnational gang members and got them sentenced to prison. Trump is trying to avoid being sentenced to prison. There's two choices in this election: the one who will fix our broken immigration system and the one who's trying to stop her.
I wanted to start with that ad from the Kamala Harris campaign because it shows two important things. The first being Donald Trump's efforts to block the bipartisan border deal, and the second is the work that Kamala Harris has already done in her career to secure the border. Because Republicans think attacking Kamala Harris on the border is their ticket to victory, and that is just absolutely not the case. Not only because the attacks that they're making are lies, but because they're being turned around and thrown in their face and really just blowing up in their faces and humiliating Donald Trump because, again, he was the one who destroyed the bipartisan border deal and failed to secure the border while he was president. And so because of that, MAGA keeps trying to use these attacks, and they always go so poorly. And the best example of that came today with a hilarious shutdown of someone who we really just can't stand, and that is Peter Doocy by Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who just absolutely shut down Peter's lies, his MAGA lies about President Biden, Kamala Harris, and the border. It was just incredible. So let's check it out.
And how long have you guys known that Vice President Harris does not think President Biden is doing a good job at the border?
Wait, say that one more time?
Well, she's now promising to hire thousands more border agents than there are now under President Biden.
Wait, but start your question again.
How long have you guys known that Vice President Harris does not think that President Biden is effective with his border policy?
I mean, that you're making a huge jump. Why? She did not say this. This is something that you are assuming. I don't understand why you would assume that. It's not true.
She has a campaign ad where she is saying they need more Border Patrol agents. If President Biden's doing such a good job, why do they need any more border agents?
We both believe that. The president does want more Border Patrol agents. You know who's getting in the way? You know who's getting in the way? Republicans in Congress. They're getting in the way. You know who else is getting in the way? The former president, Donald Trump. He's getting in the way. I mean, there's no daylight here. I'm not understanding the question because there's no daylight. The president believes that as well, and he's worked towards doing that. There's a bipartisan, I know you guys probably get sick of me saying this, but there was a bipartisan agreement that was on the table that the president worked through for a couple of months with Republicans in the Senate and Democrats. They were told not to move forward because it would help Joe Biden by the former president. That's their decision.
And
Republicans want to attack President Biden and Vice President Harris for the border, but they don't want to do anything about it. They just want to talk. That's what they're about. They're about talking and complaining, but getting nothing done. It's why this MAGA majority in the House is the reason that this Congress is the least productive in modern American history. All MAGA does is talk. They have no agenda. They have no policy positions. They can't work across the aisle. All they can do is complain and then go on Fox News and complain anymore. They're children incapable of doing their jobs, and for that reason, they shouldn't have them. And that's exactly one of the main reasons Donald Trump should not be president, and there's a lot of them. But it's because all he wants to do is complain and whine and moan and be a child, but can't actually get anything done. Unlike Kamala Harris, who has a plan to work across the aisle and make sure our border is secure. And she talked about that in this clip.
Look, our administration worked on the most significant border security bill in decades. Some of the most conservative Republicans in Washington, D.C. supported the bill. Even the Border Patrol endorsed it. It was all set to pass. But at the last minute, Trump directed his allies in the Senate to vote it down. Right. He tanked the bipartisan deal because he thought it would help him win an election. which goes to show Donald Trump does not care about border security. He only cares about himself. And when I am president, I will work to actually solve the problem. So here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the border security bill that Donald Trump killed, and I will sign it into law.
Keep calling him out. I absolutely love it. I love the direct call out. Donald Trump tried to tank and did tank the bipartisan border deal, not because he thought it was bad policy. I don't think Donald Trump understands policy. He clearly doesn't understand border policy because he failed in that regard while he was president, and his record shows that. But he did it because all he cares about is himself, serving himself and political gain in whatever way possible. That's who Donald Trump is. He's all about him. And so while Kamala Harris is contrasting her record of success with Donald Trump's of failure, she's also talking about who he is and the difference in their values. Kamala Harris has spent her life serving her community, while Donald Trump has spent his life serving himself. That's it. That is the long and the short of it. And it's so clear that Donald Trump doesn't care about these policies or improving anyone's lives, because not only is he attacking Kamala Harris, saying that an unsecure border is her fault, not true, but he's also attacking her for the policies that they both seem to agree on. And one of those is no tax on tips. Yes, Kamala Harris came out at a rally in Las Vegas and said that it would be an issue of hers. She would want to move forward with ending taxation on tips if she became president. And Donald Trump, too, has talked about that. And so he lashed out against Kamala Harris in this Truth Social post. Kamala Harris, whose honeymoon period is ending and is starting to get hammered in the polls, not true, just copied my no taxes on tips policy. The difference is she won't do it. She just wants it for political purposes. Now, it's so funny to me that Donald Trump is accusing Kamala Harris of wanting to steal a policy from him for political purposes, and that she's only doing it because she wants the political gain that comes from it. Because, of course, that is the abundant truth of Donald Trump. He killed the bipartisan border deal because he wanted to run on the border. And that is, of course, blowing up in his face, as we saw it happen with Peter Doocy as well. But it's funny to me that he would say that. He would say, oh, she just wants the political gain. And in doing so, is admitting himself that that's the reason why he's doing it. If he supported this policy, if he thought it was good policy, which again, Donald Trump doesn't think about policy or issues or how to improve people's lives, but if he did for a second, and if he got off Truth Social and stopped complaining all the time, he would say, great. Oh, Kamala Harris is also supporting this policy. Maybe we could work to pass it together. Maybe we could push it through Congress now. Maybe if President Biden supports it as well, we can have this, build a bridge, work across the aisle, bipartisanship. But no, he's attacking her for supporting a policy that he ostensibly supports as well. Again, we don't know, because he wants the political gain. And it's so funny that Donald Trump, every time he opens his mouth lately, and really for most of his entire life, says things that just blow up in his face. And that has been the nature of this campaign for Donald Trump. And that's why, really more than anything, I encourage him to keep talking. Please, keep posting on Truth Social. Keep holding campaign rallies in which you meander and spew word salads. Actually, maybe word McDonald's for Donald Trump. I don't know if Donald Trump eats salad. Nothing wrong with McDonald's. I love some McDonald's, but we don't need to get into Donald Trump's diet. But please, keep talking, Donald. Do your thing. Go for it. We love when you speak, because it is just bad for you. And I've said that before. If Donald Trump wants to attack Kamala Harris's identity and lie about it, go for it. She has thick skin. It's not going to bother her, but it will continue to tank your poll numbers, Donald. So go for it, because you're only reminding the American people, you're only reminding all of us why we dislike you so much and why we kicked you out of the White House for the first time in 2020, and why we're going to make sure you never go back in November, because we're not going back. We are not going back. And if you want to support that message by becoming a part of this channel that is talking about it every single day, make sure, if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button. Join what we are building on this channel. We are still such a young, new channel, only a month old, but we have grown so much because of your support. And if you want to support a little bit more, you can hit that like button. It really goes a long way and would mean the world to me. And until next time, I'll see you soon.